The morning I was declared cancer-free, my nurse smiled and said, "You were our favorite patient." Then I overheard her whisper to another staff member, "Too bad she won't survive the treatment side effects. Her immune system's completely shot. Give it 6 months, maybe less." I froze in the hospital corridor, mid-step, hand gripping my discharge papers so tight they crumpled. The sterile smell of disinfectant, the smell I'd lived with for 14 months, suddenly making me nauseous. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, too bright, too harsh, making everything look washed out and clinical. My legs felt weak, actually weak, like they might give out. I turned back slowly, carefully, trying not to make noise. Sarah, my nurse, my trusted nurse, the one who'd held my hand through the worst moments of my life, was standing at the nurse's station talking to another staff member. Young guy, maybe a resident, clipboard in hand, casual conversation, didn't see me standing there 15 feet away around the corner. "Too bad," she continued, voice casual, light, like she was discussing the weather or weekend plans. She was one of the good ones, always polite, never complained even when things got really bad. But the chemo damage is irreversible at this point. She just doesn't know it yet. Dr. Martinez is too optimistic sometimes. My hands started shaking, actually trembling, discharge papers crinkling loudly in my grip. Had to steady myself against the wall. I'd just spent 14 months fighting acute myeloid leukemia, 14 months of hell. Chemotherapy every Tuesday for 6 brutal months. Bags of poison dripped into my veins while I tried not to vomit. Radiation 5 days a week that made me lose 43 pounds. Hair falling out in clumps in the shower. Nausea so bad I couldn't keep water down. Couldn't keep anything down. Infections that landed me in the ICU twice. Once for 9 days when my white blood cell count dropped to almost nothing. And now, 32 minutes after Dr. Martinez told me I was officially in remission, that my scans were clean, that my blood work looked remarkably good, that I could start planning my future again, start thinking about living instead of dying, my nurse was casually telling someone I wouldn't make it anyway. 6 months, maybe less. Something wasn't right. Something was very, very wrong. I'd been a patient at Mercy General Hospital for 14 months, longest 14 months of my life. Stage 3 acute myeloid leukemia. Diagnosis came the week before my 29th birthday, completely random. No family history, no warning signs, just suddenly exhausted all the time, bruising easily, fever that wouldn't go away. The diagnosis ruined my engagement. Fiancé couldn't handle it, left 3 weeks after I started treatment, cost me my job. Architectural firm couldn't hold my position that long, destroyed my savings. Even with insurance, the bills piled up. Medical bankruptcy at 29, but I fought, hard, brutal, relentless, because I wanted to live, because I was 28 years old, and I had things to do, and people to love, and a life to live. Sarah had been my primary oncology nurse for the last 8 months, assigned to me when my previous nurse, Jennifer, transferred to pediatrics. Sarah was young, maybe 32, 33, always smiling, always encouraging, pretty in that wholesome way, blonde ponytail, bright blue scrubs, the kind of nurse who remembered your birthday, who brought you extra blankets when you couldn't stop shivering from fever, who stayed late to talk you through panic attacks at 2 in the morning when you were certain you were dying. She'd held my hand during bone marrow biopsies, the worst pain I'd ever experienced, helped me to the bathroom when I was too weak to walk alone, changed my IV bags, adjusted my medications, called me sweetie and honey and warrior, and made me feel cared for, made me feel like someone was fighting alongside me. Trusted. I'd trusted her completely, with my life, with my fears, with my hope. But Dr. Martinez had literally just told me 32 minutes ago, according to my phone, that my latest scans were clean, that the cancer was undetectable, that my blood work looked remarkably good for someone who'd been through what I'd been through, that my bone marrow was producing healthy cells, that my prognosis was excellent, that I should start thinking about returning to work in a few months, about rebuilding my life, about living again, not dying, living. So why was Sarah, trusted, caring, dedicated Sarah, saying the exact opposite? I walked quickly to the nearest bathroom, third door on the right, family bathroom, locked myself inside, sat down on the closed toilet lid, pulled out my phone with shaking fingers, logged into my patient portal, the online system Mercy General set up so patients could access their own records, test results, medications, doctor's notes, everything. Scrolled to lab results, most recent tests dated 3 days ago, Wednesday morning. The comprehensive metabolic panel and complete blood count Dr. Martinez had ordered before my final discharge appointment. White blood cell count, 7.2 thousand cells per microliter. Normal range, 4.5 to 11.0, right in the middle. Perfect. Hemoglobin, 13.1 grams per deciliter. Normal range, 12.0 to 16.0. Healthy. Platelet count, 218,000 per microliter. Normal range, 150,000 to 400,000. Excellent. Red blood cell count, 4.6 million cells per microliter. Normal range, 4.2 to 5.4. Normal. Neutrophils, 4.1. Normal range, 2.0 to 7.5. Good immune function. Lymphocytes, 2.3. Normal range, 1.0 to 4.0. Healthy. I scrolled further. Kidney function, normal. Liver function, normal. Electrolytes, balanced. Everything was normal. Not just barely normal. Not scraping by at the bottom of the acceptable range, solidly, healthily normal. Some numbers were even in the middle of the range. Ideal. Textbook recovery. I took screenshots of everything, every lab result, every scan report, every doctor's note, every single piece of documentation showing the same thing: remission, recovery, healing, health. Then I remembered something that had seemed harmless at the time, helpful even, but now felt sinister, predatory. Last week, Tuesday afternoon, right after my regular follow-up appointment, Sarah had pulled me aside in the hallway near the elevators, said Dr. Martinez was too optimistic about my prognosis, that doctors sometimes don't see the whole picture because they focus on lab numbers and scans, that the real recovery happens at the cellular level and takes much longer, that I should consider supplemental immune support to help my body truly heal. She'd handed me a business card, cream-colored, thick, expensive cardstock, Nature's Heal Wellness Center in flowing script, address in the expensive part of downtown, the area with art galleries and boutique shops and restaurants with waiting lists. My boyfriend runs it, she'd said, smiling warmly, touching my arm. They specialize in post-cancer recovery, immune system rebuilding, detox protocols to clear out residual chemotoxins, vitamin infusions. Lots of my patients go there after treatment ends. It really helps bridge the gap between medical treatment and true wellness. I'd thanked her, appreciated her concern, thrown the card away in the parking garage trash can on level 3 because I was broke and couldn't afford anything not covered by insurance. Thought she was just being helpful. Thought she cared about my long-term health. Thought she was looking out for me. Now I was thinking something else entirely, something much darker, something that made my stomach twist with a different kind of nausea. I left the bathroom and walked straight to the hospital administrative offices. 3rd floor, East Wing. Didn't stop at my car, didn't leave the building, didn't hesitate. Marched right past the waiting area, past other patients and visitors. Focused, determined, angry. The receptionist, older woman, gray hair, reading glasses, looked up when I pushed through the main door. "Ma'am, do you have an appointment? Tell Director Chen it's about a nurse giving false medical information to patients." My voice was steady, cold. "Tell her it's urgent. Tell her it involves patient exploitation. I'll wait." That got her attention. Eyes widened. She picked up her phone immediately, spoke in low, urgent tones. 2 minutes later, I watched the clock on the wall, counted the seconds. I was sitting in a leather chair across from Director Margaret Chen, hospital director, chief administrator, mid-50s, sharp eyes behind designer glasses, competent looking, the kind of woman who ran things efficiently. "Miss Rodriguez," she said carefully, professional, folding her hands on her immaculate desk. "What exactly happened?" I told her everything, the conversation I'd overheard not 30 minutes ago. Sarah telling another staff member I had 6 months to live, the direct contradiction with my actual test results, the wellness center business card, Sarah's boyfriend running it, the supplemental immune support recommendation, the other patients she'd mentioned who went there. I showed her the screenshots on my phone, scrolled through them slowly, lab results, scan reports, doctor's notes, all of it showing I was healthy, in remission, recovering well, no complications, excellent prognosis. Director Chen's expression darkened with every word, jaw tightening, eyes going cold and hard, the professional mask slipping to show genuine anger underneath. "Wait here," she said, standing abruptly, chair rolling back. "Don't leave, I need to make some calls." She left her office. I heard her in the outer reception area making phone calls, sharp, clipped conversations, words like investigation and immediate suspension and patient exploitation and licensing board floating through the partially open door. 15 minutes later, felt like an hour, she returned with Dr. Martinez, my oncologist, the woman who'd saved my life, 50-something, kind eyes, gray hair pulled back, white coat with my file tucked under her arm. "Amanda," Dr. Martinez said, sitting down in the chair next to me, not across the desk, next to me, like a friend. "Your recovery is going exactly as we hoped. Better than we hoped, actually. Your scans are completely clean. Your blood work is excellent, truly excellent. There are 0 complications, no residual cancer cells, no organ damage from treatment. Your bone marrow is producing healthy cells. Your immune system is rebuilding beautifully. Your prognosis is excellent. You should live a long, healthy, normal life." Relief flooded through me. Hearing it again, confirmed, real. Then why would Sarah say, "We're looking into that right now"? Director Chen interrupted, voice hard, professional anger. "Has she recommended anything else? Any specific treatments outside this hospital? Any supplements or alternative protocols?" I pulled up the photo I'd taken of the business card before throwing it away. Old habit from my previous job as an architect. Document everything, photograph everything, save everything. She gave me this last Tuesday, said her boyfriend runs the place, said lots of her patients go there for additional support after treatment. I showed them both the screen. Nature's Heal Wellness Center, the flowing script, the expensive-looking design. Director Chen and Dr. Martinez exchanged a look. Something passed between them, something knowing, something dark, something that said this wasn't new information. "We've had 3 other cancer patients mention that specific wellness center in the past 6 weeks, Dr. Martinez said quietly, carefully. All of them post-treatment. All of them told their recovery wasn't going as well as expected. All encouraged to seek alternative immune support. We've been quietly investigating since the second report, but we didn't have concrete proof. We didn't have direct evidence of a staff member making false medical claims. Until now, my stomach dropped. Actually, actually dropped. How many nurses are involved in this? We're investigating that right now, Director Chen said, standing again. Miss Rodriguez, I need you to come with me. We're going to document everything formally. Make an official statement. This is a serious violation of patient trust, medical ethics, and potentially criminal fraud. Your testimony is crucial. We walked back down to the oncology floor, second floor, south wing, my floor, the floor where I'd spent so many days and nights, where I'd cried and vomited and fought and prayed and nearly died twice. Sarah was still at the nurse's station, same spot, typing on a computer, clipboard next to her with patient charts, looking normal, looking professional, looking like the caring, dedicated nurse who'd held my hand through hell, who'd told me I was strong, who'd told me I could survive. I walked right up to her desk, Director Chen and a security officer, large man, hospital security uniform, flanking me on either side. Sarah, I said, keeping my voice steady, controlled, even. I need you to repeat what you just said about my survival chances. The prognosis you gave to the other staff member about 30 minutes ago. Her face went pale, actually drained of color, from healthy pink to white in seconds. I don't know what you mean, sweetie. Don't call me sweetie, I said, pulled out my phone, showed her the screenshots of my lab results, held it close to her face. Because I just checked my actual medical records, everything's normal, perfectly healthy ranges, excellent recovery according to Dr. Martinez. So why were you telling people I have 6 months to live? Why were you saying my immune system is shot when all my numbers are healthy? Sarah's eyes darted between me, Director Chen, and the security officer. Panicked, trapped. I was just trying to help you, trying to prepare you for— Help me? My voice was cold now, ice cold, controlled fury. Or help your boyfriend's wellness center scam vulnerable cancer patients who are desperate and scared and willing to try anything? Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. No words came out, just small, gasping sounds. How many people did you lie to? I asked, leaning closer. How many scared, desperate, dying patients did you tell they were worse off than they were? How many did you send to that place with your boyfriend? How many did you exploit for profit? I didn't. It's not like that. We were just offering additional support for people who— Save it, I cut her off. I don't want to hear excuses. Director Chen stepped forward, voice formal, official. Sarah Martinez, you're being placed on immediate administrative suspension pending formal investigation. You are required to surrender your badge and leave the premises immediately. Security will escort you from the building. Your access to patient records and hospital systems is revoked, effective immediately. Sarah's face crumbled, professional mask shattering. Please, please, I need this job. We were just trying to make extra money. We have bills. We were just— By lying to dying patients? My voice was ice, pure ice, every word deliberate. By telling people who just beat cancer that they're going to die anyway? By exploiting the most vulnerable people you could possibly find? People who trusted you with their lives? She looked at me, really looked at me for the first time since I'd approached. Maybe saw something in my face, the 14 months of hell, the pain, the fear, the nights I'd wanted to die, the trust I'd given her, that made her realize how badly she'd miscalculated, how badly she'd underestimated me. You don't understand the pressure we're under. Student loans and rent and— I understand perfectly, I said, voice dropping even lower, more dangerous. You saw vulnerable people, people who'd just survived hell, people fighting for their lives, people who trusted you completely, and you decided to exploit them for profit, to scare them, to lie to them, to send them to your boyfriend's scam operation, for money. Security took her by the arm, firm but not rough, started walking her toward the elevator bank. She tried one more time, looking back at me, tears streaming now, real or fake, I couldn't tell, didn't care. Amanda, please, I'm sorry, I never meant— My name, I said quietly, is Miss Rodriguez, and you'll be hearing from my lawyer. They walked her to the elevator. Her badge clattered as the security officer removed it from her scrubs, cut the lanyard, dropped it in a plastic bag. Evidence, 14 floors down, through the main lobby, out of the building, gone. I watched until the elevator doors closed, until she disappeared. I gave my formal statement that afternoon. 2 hours in Director Chen's office with a hospital attorney present, recorded, documented, signed, told them everything I could remember, every interaction with Sarah, every recommendation, every time she'd mentioned the wellness center, every patient she'd mentioned who'd gone there. 3 days later, Friday morning, the hospital fired Sarah for gross misconduct, spreading false medical information, patient exploitation, and violation of medical ethics. Formal termination, permanent record. Reference checks would show cause for dismissal. But it was worse than just me. So much worse. Turns out Sarah had been doing it systematically for almost a year, 11 months, since she'd started dating Marcus Chen, her boyfriend, owner of Nature's Heal Wellness Center, no relation to Director Chen, targeting post-cancer patients specifically, the vulnerable ones, the scared ones, the ones who'd just finished treatment, the ones desperate to believe they'd survive, the ones who'd do anything for a few more months or years. Her pattern was consistent. Wait until they finished active treatment, plant seeds of doubt about their recovery, mention supplemental support, give them a business card. Her boyfriend would take care of them. The wellness center charged $3,000 for an initial comprehensive immune assessment, then $800 per week for supplements, or $200 per week for vitamin IV infusions, $500 for energy balancing sessions. None of it covered by insurance, none of it medically necessary, none of it actually helpful. 4 other patients came forward after my complaint was made public through hospital channels, then 7 more, then 12. All told the same story, variations on the same theme. Their recovery wasn't going well. The doctors were missing something. They needed extra help. Here's a card. My boyfriend runs it. He specializes in post-cancer care. Trust me. One woman, Janet, 53, breast cancer survivor, had spent $47,000 over 6 months, drained her retirement savings for useless supplements and fake treatments. Another, David, 47, colon cancer, had delayed necessary follow-up care because Sarah told him the wellness center treatments were more important. His cancer came back. Stage 4 now, terminal. The stories kept coming, each one worse than the last. The wellness center was shut down by the state medical board 2 weeks later. Investigation found they were selling unregulated supplements with false medical claims, making promises they couldn't keep, operating without proper licensing, targeting cancer patients specifically through Sarah's referrals. Sarah lost her nursing license permanently. State board revocation hearing took 45 minutes. Evidence was overwhelming. Can never practice nursing again in any state. Her name flagged in the national database. Her boyfriend, Marcus Chen, faced criminal charges, multiple counts, wire fraud, patient exploitation, false advertising, operating an unlicensed medical facility, making false medical claims. The FBI got involved because the scam crossed state lines, patients from 3 different states. Trial was set for 8 months later. Prosecutors were confident. Evidence was extensive. Patient testimony devastating. I got a call from the hospital's legal department 3 weeks after everything went down. They wanted to settle, avoid litigation, avoid bad publicity, offer compensation for emotional distress, breach of trust, psychological harm, and violation of the doctor-patient relationship. The offer was substantial. 6 figures. More money than I'd seen in my life. More than enough to pay off my medical bankruptcy and start over. My lawyer, court-appointed initially, but who took my case pro bono after hearing the story, advised me to take it. You'll win if you sue, he said, but it'll take years and cost you emotionally. This is a good offer. I took the settlement, signed the papers, got the check, donated half to actual cancer research at Memorial Sloan Kettering. Legitimate research, real science, helping real patients, kept the other half for therapy. Because even though my body beat cancer, my mind needed help healing from what Sarah had done, from the betrayal, from the fear she'd planted so casually, from the way she'd looked me in the eye and lied while holding my hand, from the trust I'd given that she'd exploited for profit. 6 months later, December, I was still here, still healthy, still cancer-free, blood work perfect, white blood cells 7.4, hemoglobin 13.3, platelets 225,000, all normal, all healthy, scans clean, no cancer, no complications, no problems. Dr. Martinez said I was a model recovery, said she wished all her patients did this well, said I should consider sharing my story to give other patients hope. I started volunteering at a cancer support group, sharing my experience, warning people about exploitation, helping them verify medical information, teaching them to trust but verify. And Sarah, she's exactly where she belongs, nowhere near vulnerable patients ever again. License revoked, career destroyed, reputation ruined. Last I heard, she was working retail, some clothing store in a mall 3 counties away, folding shirts, running a register, making minimum wage. Marcus got 18 months in federal prison, plea deal. Could have been 5 years, but he cooperated, gave up names of other people running similar scams. The wellness center building sits empty now, for lease sign in the window. Nature's Heal Wellness Center sign taken down, just empty space. And I'm still here, still breathing, still fighting, still living, exactly where Sarah said I wouldn't be.